Hello, welcome or welcome back. My name is Ari. Merry Christmas if you celebrate. This is going up on Christmas Day. I'm actually recording this on the same day it's going up, so it's Christmas for me too. As you probably noticed in today's video, I am doing my January TBR, and every year I play a game called Dungeons of Books, but I change it every year in January, so this is a brand new game. I've been doing this for, I want to say this is the 4th year, but I could be counting wrong. And every previous year I have done a locational iteration of my Dungeons of Books games. So I have a dungeon map, or last year's was a inn map, and I took a D20, rolled the D20, and had a prompt associated with each number. This year is going to be a big change up from previous iterations because we're not doing a dungeon map anymore. We're not doing any map. We're doing something much more complicated, and that is a character sheet. Now, this is, I hope, obviously, a modified Dungeons & Dragons character sheet, and I'm going to use this character sheet to choose my TBR. I'm going to quickly run through all of the different options I have for books on here. If you don't care and you just want to see the game played, I should have like a start time for the game on screen right here. So, character sheet. We have basically 4 different sections of the character sheet. Up here we have our race, class, background, and alignment. These are going to be like modifier spots, and I don't necessarily have to pick a specific book for these. Then these 2 spots right here are my monthly pull of a series continuation and audiobook that I pull out of my jars. These are staying the same. I just have specific spots for them right here. This right here is where I pull books. So minimum 6 books on my TBR. Strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Each one of these coincides with a list of different books that I could read, or different prompts that I could use to fill a book. This big old spot right here is just so I can like write out the books that I get or use as like an area to roll the dice. So let's go through these really quick. So as far as like the race, class, background, and alignment goes, I have cards that match with these, and these just give me like modifier prompts. They're not book prompts, but they're modifiers. So like race cards are going to have a different D&D based race, and they'll give me like a prompt that I have to use in addition. So like a book with a brown cover or something like that. And then one of my other books, once I get to rolling for my attributes, I have to have double prompts with that, where let's say I get a book with a brown cover, then one of the books that I have to pick for those attributes needs to have brown on the cover, or I need to add an extra book at the end. Then I have class. These are just like extra little challenges. Maybe I'm only allowed to read physical books that month, or I need to read all ebooks and audiobooks that month. Or maybe it's something where I have a little bit more free choice and I can re-roll something later. Then I have my background cards. These are background alignments like Charlatan, Sage, Haunted One, etc., etc., etc. And these are outside activities that might not necessarily have anything to do with reading. So if I'm a fighter, I need to do a workout once a day. Or if I'm a sage, I need to write in a journal once a day. These are extra little add-ons. Some of them have to do with books, but a lot of them do not. Then the final group of cards is my alignment cards. So this is everything from lawful good to chaotic evil. These prompts kind of tell me how many books I actually need to read from my TBR. So if I'm lawful good, I need to read and complete every single solitary one of the books that I pull on my TBR. And if I'm chaotic evil, then I like lose the ability to read some of the books that I may want to read, and everything in between. That is this section. We do that first. Then I have my audiobook and series continuation that is extremely simple. That doesn't change. I pull a piece of paper from these two audiobooks series, and then I have to continue the series and then read that audiobook sometime in the month. And then we get into the actual stats over here, and I have these little things. I understand you use a 46 to figure out your stats on D&D, but that doesn't make any sense for a TBR game because I need to roll ones. I need to roll really low numbers. So I'm just going to use a D20 instead of 46. It's fine. It's not real D&D. Don't be mad about it. And then I just roll a D20 and then fill the prompt with the corresponding number. We start with strength. All of these are either or prompts. Dexterity is prompts that I don't really have much control over. Either somebody else chooses the book for me, or like it's randomly generated somehow. Constitution books is what I'm calling genres, but this isn't all genres on here. There's things like Kindle Unlimited book or a book by a BIPOC author. I don't have 20 genres that I normally read. So genres loosely. Intelligence. These are my 24 books to read in 2024. And this one, like, this is laminated and this is not, because this will change every single month as I read through the books that are on this list. So obviously I have 24 books that I need to read in 2024, but there's only 18 open spots on here because 1 is always Jar of Doom, 20 is always free choice on all of these. So I'll need to fill in the bottom half of that 20 and 24 on this sheet. Wisdom are just random prompts, like things that I find interesting that haven't fit in any other categories. There's no rhyme or reason. They're just kind of fun, weird little prompts. And then finally, charisma. The last sheet, this is again a changeable sheet, and these are just books that I want to read that month, like the books that I am mostly excited about. This can wildly change each month, or maybe not change a whole lot at all, depending on like what I'm in the mood to read. If y'all want like an individual video where I just sit here and like walk through every single possible prompt on the Dungeons of Books board this year, let me know in the comments and I can make that. But right now we're just going to do a figure it out as you go style of video, and I'm just going to play and then you can see what I got this month and hopefully figure it out from there. It's not a super complicated board, it's just a lot more moving parts than what I'm used to. So let's jump over and play this month's board. Before I start filling out my character sheet here, January is my series continuation month, so hopefully all, if not most of these books will be continuing on in a series. First thing we're going to do is grab character cards. For race, we got elf. And all this means is that one of the books that I put on this TBR needs to have a pretty cover. It doesn't have to be its standalone book, it just needs to be one of the books. And if none of the books I have by the end of this game have a pretty cover, then I need to add another book with a pretty cover. Next up is my class, and I am a cleric. This is a somewhat beneficial class because if I don't like one of my ability prompts that I roll, I can re-roll it. When I re-roll it, if the number that I rolled is lower, then I just complete that prompt instead. But if it's higher, then it's a free choice prompt and I can just choose whatever book that I want to. Next up, background, and my character is an elven cleric who grew up as an entertainer. Was I in the circus? Who knows? Who knows? I am an entertainer. Maybe I should have been a bard. But the prompt for this is sometime in the month I need to play a video game. I don't know what video game I'm going to play this month, but it's sometime in the month I need to spend some time playing video games, not just reading all of the time. And I will tell you in the wrap-up what video game I played to complete this. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave them down in the comments. And then finally, my alignment, I am a neutral good, which means out of every book on my TBR, I need to at least try to read them all. So I need to start all of them. If I don't like them, I can DNF. That's fine, no problem. But I need to give every single one of these books a chance. As you saw, for the series continuations, I chose Red Rising. The next one in that series that I need to read is Morning Star. This will have me complete the first trilogy, but there's like a second trilogy that I obviously haven't started yet. So I will be reading Morning Star in January. We'll see if the Red Rising series gets any better. People keep promising me that it's going to get better, and it hasn't happened yet, but the series isn't bad. It's just not the immaculate, amazing thing that I keep hearing it is. Then for the audiobook, I got Radiant Sin by Katie Roberts. Or Robert. I don't think there's an S on the end of her name. So this is book 4 of the Dark Olympus series. I haven't read any books in the Dark Olympus series, but if it's anything like her other series, I can read them out of order, no questions asked. So what I believe is like dark romance or smut, dark smut, following like modern day Olympian gods. This one seems to follow Cassandra and Apollo, and that's all I know. I'm not a big fan of smut in audiobook format. Like, listening to other people talk about sex kind of creeps me out, but I just have to start it. I don't have to finish it. Strength. I rolled a 7, and the prompt is a high rated book. High rated is kind of one of those things that it's like, what does that even mean? But I'm gonna say it's above a 4.0 on Goodreads. I could go into like my TBR and sort by highest rated and do it that way if I wanted to, but I'm not. I'm just gonna do like a book that everybody will not shut up about. It's Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. So this is a 4.4 on Goodreads, 423,000 ratings, and it just came out in November. So yeah, I said this qualifies. It's a pretty high rated book, and I need to read it because it continues the series. Next set of prompts is the dexterity prompts, and I rolled a 16. The prompt for that is a poll pick. I don't have a book for this yet, but in the community tab, I have a poll up that you guys can vote on. I've had it up for a while, but if you haven't seen it yet, go vote on it. The 4 books that you are choosing from are all series continuations, and they are Saga, Volume 11. Then I have A Soul of Ash and Blood, which is book 5 in the From Blood and Ash series. Then I have Defiant by Brandon Sanderson. This is the 4th book in the Skyward Quartet. And the final option is The Dreaded Oath of Gold by Elizabeth Moon. If you guys are familiar with my channel, you'll know that I have struggled to get through book 2 of this series and finally got through it. And now I need to read book 3, complete this series. Right now, Saga is winning the poll, if that affects who you want to vote for. Next up is Constitution, and I picked Jar of Doom. Now, I haven't actually updated that Jar of Doom, so I was shocked when I pulled out a book that I actually haven't read, which is Disfigured by Amanda LeDuc. This apparently is going to be my nonfiction of the month, because I like to put at least one nonfiction on my TBR each month, and this is what it is. I've started this one, but I only read like one chapter, so nonfiction for the month. Captain has joined us, so if you hear loud breathing and snorting, it's just the bulldog. Next prompt is Intelligence, and this is going to give us a specific book, not a prompt. I rolled 19, which is Bad Feminist by Roxane Gay. This is the 24 books I need to read in 2024, and this is apparently the first one of them. So I'm reading 2 nonfictions this month, which is fine. I'm cool with it. Next ability is Wisdom, and I rolled an 8, which is Alliteration. I decided to use my Claricon in this one because I don't have a series continuation book that has alliteration in it. If you're unfamiliar what alliteration is, let me get you some examples. Alliteration is when the first letters of the title for the important words line up. So Fate of the Fallen. Of the doesn't matter, but Fate and Fallen, alliteration. The Mask of Mirrors, Mask Mirrors, alliteration. Nana the Ninth, Nana Ninth, alliteration. That's it. I don't have any series continuations that have alliteration, so we're re-rolling it. Reroll, we got a 4. So because 4 is a smaller number than 8, I have to go with a prompt for 4. It's not a free pick. If I would have gotten anything higher than an 8, it would have been a free pick. But 4 is vibes. This is almost a free pick, but I do have to come up with a justification for my vibes. For this, I'm gonna read Cage of Dreams. This is my vibe pick by Rebecca Schaefer. And I'm doing vibes based off of the first book in this series. Because the first book had a dinosaur on the cover and a dinosaur on the sprayed edges, and there's a lot of vibes from a fantasy romance that somehow involves dinosaurs. I mean, the obvious vibes. Obvious. And then the final prompt we have on here is the charisma prompts, and these are just, all of these books are series continuations. So I rolled 2, got Mad Adam by Margaret Atwood. This is another book that I have started, was bored out of my mind, so I at least want to make more progress on this, even if I'm not going to complete it. I'm going to try to complete it. This finishes out the Mad Adam trilogy, which started with Oryx and Crake. Oryx and Crake is the book that everybody knows, and not a whole lot of people read past the first one, and there's a very good reason why people don't read past the first one. And that would complete out my TBR, except for I don't think any of those covers are pretty. So I still need to do the elf pretty cover prompts. So I'm just gonna add an extra book to the TBR to fix the elf prompt, because yeah, I'm not really feeling any of those covers. I guess if I had to push, I would say the Iron Flame cover is pretty, but it's not really that pretty. So let's just add another book. For pretty cover, I'm gonna read Merciless Ones by Namina Forna. I like her outfit. I think this is a very pretty cover. So this is my pretty cover choice. And an extra book on my TBR. And this is my TBR stack for the month, kind of. I mean, you're picking one of those books for me, so 3 of them will go away. But I might just read all of them. I might, who knows? I guess we'll find out next month. I'm gonna have a lot of fun videos helping me choose which series I complete in January, so make sure you follow if you don't already and stay tuned for those. I promise it'll be a good time, even if you don't really care about series continuations. Again, in the comments below, if you need me to make a complete and total walkthrough of all prompts, let me know, and I'll see you tomorrow for another video. Bye!